My name is Eddie Sharp. I'm from Chicago. I went to South Shore High School. I played for Coach Mayden, 84, 85, and part of 86. What was that experience like? That was a great experience for me. It was probably some of the fondest memories of my of my young adulthood, of my teenage years. Well, some of the events that made it memorable were the camaraderie, the team, the loose atmosphere. Baseball. I was in love with baseball at the time, so if baseball was a part of it, I wanted to do it. And outside of that, some of the things that made it memorable were the tournaments that we went on when we went out of town. On those tournaments, they were always a lot of fun and very competitive. You know, learned a lot, made a lot of mistakes. Learned about those mistakes, things like that, and it was a good distraction from life. I wasn't the best student in the world. Uh, I had challenges at home. Gangs were real big then. Uh, you know, a lot of my friends that I grew up with were into drugs and alcohol, and baseball was a great escape for that. Oh man, some of the comical stuff. There's no end to the comical stuff. The bus rides were hilarious. On the way there, when we got down there, you know, we had swag. Well, we were all good players, good athletes. We were a little cocky, and we had a good time. We were going after the girls. We wanted to talk to the girls, and we wanted to win. You know, so one of the comical things, and we some of my boys they always get on me about this. I got caught stealing in the store, and I don't know if you want me to mention that. But that was funny, man. They rolled me about that. Yeah, well, we went down to La Crosse, Wisconsin. Yeah, and I didn't. I was a person from a meager background. I didn't have a lot of, and it was a diverse group of guys on the baseball team. And some kids had a lot, and some kids had a little, and some kids had, pretty nothing. Not a lot at all. And I was probably closer to that. Any glove that I had, I would borrow it. Uh, I barely had a pair of cleats. So I used to see things that I wanted. And so when I saw all the guys buying gloves and stuff, batting gloves, I wanted a pair. So I thought I was slick, and I thought I would slide into a store where they would get things, and I tried to steal some batting gloves. And so they always ride me because they said that I went in the store and I got them, and I was walking out, and then the guy came out behind me and tapped me on the shoulder, and he said all they heard was I said that the guy said, hey, excuse me, I want to talk to you about some stove. They said he didn't even get the word stolen out before I took off running. And they said they laughed at me and talked about me because I let them two old guys catch me. But I was tired. But the good thing about that was, I had good people around me, and they didn't let me feel too bad about that. They got on me, but they understood my situation, and and my coach Mayden, he came and got me out, and I learned a valuable lesson. And I remember the conversation we had on the bus. Me, Coach Mayden, and Anthony. They talked to me, and I thought they were gonna put me off the team, and I was afraid of what would happen, but they kind of let the situation and of course the guys riding be the lesson in that story. And some people think it's something to be ashamed of, but I'm not ashamed of it at all, because in life, you make mistakes, and if you got good people around you to help guide you through those mistakes, then you're gonna be all right. Because what I learned, what I figured out later on is that baseball is is more about mistakes than it is about success. So life, kind of mirrors baseball in that regard. You make a lot of mistakes in life. In baseball, you get out. If you're a decent player, you get out 80% of the time, and 20% or more of the time, you get on base, you get a hit or whatever. So baseball is all about the mistakes you make and trying to learn from those mistakes. I met Coach Mayden, so when I heard about the traveling All-Star team, I got excited. When that happened, I found out about the trial, or I got the invitation. I forget exactly how it was that it came to be, but I got the invitation, and I showed up to take a spot. About Coach Mayden, I'm gonna tell you, man. Coach Mayden was a godsend for a lot of young brothers in the inner city, man. God sent, because it wasn't too many black men who had the sustainability or the ability to weather the storms in their personal lives and transfer some of that energy and some of their resources into young men. And the travel teams that Coach Mayden put together were probably some of the best travel teams that the South Side ever produced, And if some of those guys, if we had known then what we know now, those guys would have got college scholarships, and a lot of us would have been in the MLB right now. That's how good that talent pool was. That's how good some of those guys was. And Coach Mayden, played a big role in that, because he gave us the venue and able to showcase our talent, to play, to have fun. He didn't frown on having fun. He made the game fun because he let us just be ourselves, and that was huge. It was big for me, very big. There was another Wisconsin trip where we went on, and I swear, on this trip, some of everything happened. I was in the news. I got in the newspaper in Wisconsin, but I got in the newspaper. It was the play that I made, but they put Cooper's picture in there. So it had my name, but it had another guy we played with named Cooper. It had Cooper's picture in there. But I got in the paper because I made a great play, and then I swagged back to my position, and people thought that was funny and that was cool, And I think I may have hit a home run in that game, or almost. But I know I got a couple of hits. But the most memorable part of that is I recorded Coach Mayden sleep. So I ain't gonna go into details on that. But I recorded him sleep, and man, we laughed about that. Coach Mayden was snoring while he was asleep, and he was a snorer. And so I recorded him. I recorded you sleep, and then of course, I added my own little extra to it, and I made you was snoring. I had you snoring, and then saying, chicken. And them guys fell out, man. It was so much fun, man. It was so much fun. I don't even know how we played as well as we did, because we didn't sleep at all on them trips. Y'all had a curfew for us and a bedtime, but we didn't sleep. We didn't sleep. We talked smack and laughed and joked all night, and I have never laughed as hard as I did on that particular trip where I was recording Coach Mayden. But we love the sport though, man. And to this day, a lot of those guys are some of my best friends. A couple of those guys were groomsmen in my wedding. I've been married 18 years now, and I've been groomsmen in a couple of those guys' wedding. And I still know a lot of the guys. We run into each other at different events and different social functions. So yeah, it was a tight knit tight knit group. And Coach Mayden, it wouldn't have happened without Coach Mayden. Hey, I should have been the superstar of the team, Coach Mayden. You should have made me the superstar of the team. I knew I was the star. Some of the other guys knew I was the star. But, you failed to make me the superstar of the team. No, I'm just joking, man. What I really want to say to Coach Mayden, thank you. Thank you for for sharing your time, because you didn't have time to do much else. And I know we wasn't paying much money. I don't know if I ever paid. I don't know if I know my grandfather wasn't giving me no money to go play baseball. So I don't know if I ever paid, man, but I always had a place to play. But I never got a chance to say thank you. And I want to say thank you to you, Coach Anthony, and really all of the players that I had the opportunity to play the game that I loved with. It was a wonderful experience. I'll never forget it. Anytime I see or talk to those guys, we talk about those trips and all of the laughs that we had. And it was an incredible experience, and I'll never forget it. And I'm trying to emulate it. I'm trying to get my son to have some of those same experiences, because they meant so much to me. And also the coaches and people around the sport are different. There are no more Coach Maydens out there. You had an eye for talent. You could find the talent. You didn't have to look at them a lot to know if they had something. And if they had something, you give them a shot. I wish there was more Coach Maydens out there that would be able to, simplify things for these kids. So God bless Coach Mayden, and I hope that you get everything that your heart desires, and that you got coming to you, because you deserve it.